I woke up to find my office door locked from the inside. When I finally got it open, my dad was standing there with a screwdriver, dismantling my custom-built desk. "Your sister needs this space more than you do," he said, not even looking up. That's when I realized, after 2 years of keeping this family afloat, I'd become invisible. 24 hours later, they were outside my apartment door, begging me to come back. Asterisk asterisk. My name is Maya Chen, and I'm 26 years old. If you'd asked me 3 years ago where I'd be today, I would have painted you a picture of a sleek downtown apartment, surrounded by the hum of the city I'd worked so hard to conquer. Instead, I was back in my childhood bedroom in Portland, staring at glow-in-the-dark stars I'd stuck to the ceiling when I was 12. The plan was simple. Move back home after graduation, save aggressively for 6 months, maybe a year tops, then launch myself back into independence. I'd landed a remote position as a software engineer at a fintech startup, decent salary, full benefits, and the freedom to work from anywhere. My parents' house seemed like the logical choice. "It'll be nice having you home again," my mom had said when I first proposed the idea, her voice warm with genuine affection. My dad had simply nodded, already calculating, I realize now, how my presence could benefit them. The first month was honeymoon phase. I set up my office in the spare room, the one that had been collecting dust and holiday decorations for years. I invested in a standing desk, an ergonomic chair that cost me half a paycheck, dual monitors, and proper lighting. This wasn't just a workspace, it was my sanctuary, my launch pad, my future. My sister Jade was 19, taking a gap year to find herself, which apparently meant sleeping until noon and scrolling through social media until 3 in the morning. She dropped out of community college after 1 semester, claiming the environment was stifling her creativity. My parents, ever the supporters of self-discovery, had simply shrugged and welcomed her home. The cracks started small. "Maya, can you spot me for groceries this week? I'm a bit short," Dad would say, his hand already extended XNTLY. "Maya, the internet's being weird. Can you look at it?" This from Jade, who somehow couldn't Google basic troubleshooting but could edit TikTok videos for hours. "Maya, I know you're working, but could you just run to the pharmacy? Your father forgot his prescription again." Mom's requests always came with a side of guilt. I said yes. Every single time, I said yes. Have you ever felt like the person everyone depends on but no one really sees? Drop a comment and let me know, you're not alone. By month 6, I wasn't just living at home, I was bankrolling it. It started innocuously enough. Dad's hours at the warehouse got cut. Just temporary, he assured us, but temporary stretched from weeks into months. Mom worked part-time at a dental office, but her income barely covered her own expenses. And Jade? Jade was building her brand. My sister had discovered a passion for lifestyle content creation. Her Instagram aesthetic was admittedly beautiful. Soft filters, carefully curated flat lays, inspirational quotes overlaid on sunset photos. She had maybe 300 followers, but she talked about sponsorships and monetization as if she were already an influencer. "I just need to invest in better equipment," she'd explain, showing me screenshots of ring lights and backdrops that cost hundreds of dollars. "Once I get to 10,000 followers, the brand deals will start rolling in." The problem was that Jade's investment money came from my bank account. Let me break down what I was covering by month 12. Rent contribution to my parents, $800 per month. Utilities when they came up short, $150 to $200 per month. Internet and phone bills, $180 per month. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Spotify Family $65 per month. Groceries and takeout, $400 to $600 per month. Jade's business expenses, $200 to $400 per month. Random Uber rides, emergency purchases, last-minute bills, $300 to $500 per month. Total, approximately $20,000 over 12 months. That's not including the one-time emergencies, the $500 for Dad's dental work, the $300 for Mom's car repair, the $750 for Jade's photography course that promised to transform her content game. $20,000. That was more than a year's rent in a decent one-bedroom apartment. But here's what made it truly insidious. Nobody acknowledged it. There were no thank yous, no promises to pay me back, no recognition that I was essentially supporting 3 adults on top of building my own career. Instead, I got, "Must be nice working from home in your pajamas." I got, "Jade's really finding her voice. It's so exciting to watch her blossom." I got, "Maya, you're always on that computer. Can't you take a break to spend time with family?" My work became invisible because it was quiet. I didn't post about my projects on social media. I didn't require an audience for validation. I just logged in at 8 a.m., solved complex problems until 6 p.m., attended meetings, hit deadlines, and collected a paycheck that everyone else seemed to think materialized by magic. Meanwhile, Jade posted a selfie and got 100 likes, and suddenly she was the star of family dinner conversation. If you've ever felt invisible while carrying everyone else's weight, hit that like button. This story gets even more intense. The office incident happened on a Tuesday. I'd been in back-to-back meetings all morning, a product launch was scheduled for Friday, and my team was ironing out critical bugs. I'd barely slept the night before, surviving on coffee and determination. Around 1 p.m., I finally broke for lunch, stumbling downstairs to find something to eat. That's when I heard the drilling. I froze halfway down the stairs, my sleep-deprived brain struggling to process the sound. It was coming from my office. My locked office. I took the remaining stairs two at a time and found my door not just unlocked but wide open. Inside, my dad was dismantling my standing desk with a power drill, already halfway through removing the legs. My monitors sat precariously on the floor. My ergonomic chair, the one I'd researched for weeks and saved for, was gone. "Dad, what are you doing?" He looked up, no guilt in his expression, just mild annoyance at being interrupted. "Oh, Maya. Good, you can help. We're moving your setup to the basement. Jade needs this room." The words landed like a physical blow. "Excuse me. Jade needs better lighting for her content. This room has the best natural light in the house. The basement will work fine for you, you're just on a computer anyway." Just on a computer. 2 years of contributions, of sacrifices, of silently holding everything together, reduced to just on a computer. "Where's my chair?" Jade needed a better setup for filming. "That chair has great back support, perfect for long recording sessions." "Don't worry, there's a folding chair in the basement." Something inside me crystallized in that moment. It wasn't anger. Not yet. It was clarity. "Put my desk back together." Dad actually laughed. "Maya, don't be dramatic. It's just a room. Family shares." "Family shares," I repeated slowly. "Is that what we're calling this? Because from where I'm standing, I've been sharing my income, my time, my space, and my sanity for 2 years, and this is the first time anyone's bothered to ask me to share anything back." "That's not fair." "Where's my chair, Dad?" "In Jade's new office. Your old office." He said it so matter-of-factly, as if it had always been hers. I walked past him, down the hall, and pushed open the door to what had been my sanctuary. Jade was there, sitting in my $600 chair, adjusting a ring light she'd positioned near the window. "My window." "Oh hey, Maya." She beamed at me, completely oblivious. "Doesn't this space have amazing vibes?" Dad said I could finally have a proper studio. "I'm going to paint that wall blush pink. It'll look so good in photos." "Get out of my chair." Her smile faltered. "What?" "That's my chair. I bought it with my bonus." "Get out of it." "Dad said I could use it." "I don't care what Dad said. That's mine." Jade's expression shifted from confusion to indignation. "God, Maya, why are you being so selfish? It's just a chair. You can use it when I'm not filming." Selfish. The word that would haunt me. I'd paid for the groceries in our fridge. I'd covered the electricity keeping the lights on. I'd funded the internet connection she was using to upload her content. And I was selfish. "Keep the chair," I said quietly. "Keep all of it." I turned and walked back to my gutted office, where Dad was still standing with his drill. "I'm moving out." He actually rolled his eyes. "Maya, you're overreacting. So you have to work in the basement for a while." "I'm moving out," I repeated, pulling out my phone. "Today." "Don't be ridiculous. Where are you going to go?" I opened my banking app, looked at my savings, the account that should have had $30,000 but instead had $11,000 because I'd been subsidizing everyone else's life. Anywhere but here. Would you have stayed or left? Comment below, and keep watching because what happens next will shock you. I found a studio apartment in Southeast Portland within 3 hours. It was tiny, barely 400 square feet, but it was mine. The landlord could show it that afternoon, and I could move in immediately if I had first month, last month, and deposit ready. $6,000, just like that, but I didn't hesitate. I called a friend with a truck. I called my company's HR to update my address. I did not call my family. By 7 p.m., I was loading my reassembled desk, my monitors, my clothes, and my dignity into a pickup truck. My parents had gone out, conveniently, and Jade was in her new studio with headphones on, oblivious to the activity happening elsewhere in the house. I left a note on the kitchen counter. Short, clean, final. Asterisk, I've moved out. My new number is for emergencies only. I won't be covering bills, groceries, or expenses anymore. You'll need to budget accordingly. Maya asterisk. I didn't pack emotions into boxes. I didn't leave room for guilt. I just left. The studio was perfect in its simplicity. One main room with a kitchenette, a bathroom barely big enough to turn around in, and a single large window that let in morning light. I set up my desk facing that window, arranged my monitors, and sat in my folding chair. Yes, I'd taken the basement folding chair, because pettiness felt earned. That first night, I ordered Thai food, ate it on my floor, and felt something I hadn't experienced in 2 years. Peace. My phone stayed silent until 11 p.m. Then, the messages started. Dad asterisk, Maya, where are you? Your note doesn't make sense. Mom asterisk, honey, please call us. We're worried. Jade asterisk, why did you take all your stuff? I needed your extra monitor. I turned off my phone and went to sleep. The morning brought consequences, just not for me. I woke up to 63 missed calls, 47 text messages, and 3 voicemails. I made coffee, set up my workspace, logged into my morning stand-up meeting, and ignored every single notification. By noon, they'd figured out where I lived. My landlord called to warn me that people claiming to be my family were in the lobby. I told her to tell them I wasn't available. At 1 p.m., they were outside my door. The knocking started soft, almost apologetic, then escalated to pounding. I put on noise-canceling headphones and continued working. A critical bug wasn't going to fix itself just because my family was having a crisis of their own making. Finally, around 3 p.m., my workday done, I opened the door. All 3 of them stood there, Dad looking uncomfortable, Mom crying, Jade furious. How could you just leave like that? Mom's voice cracked with hurt. How could I? I leaned against my doorframe, not inviting them in. Let's see. Maybe it was when Dad dismantled my office to give it to Jade. Maybe it was when you sold my chair, that I bought, without asking. Or maybe it was the cumulative weight of being treated like an ATM machine with a troubleshooting degree for 2 solid years. We didn't treat you like that, Dad protested. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and turned the screen toward them. $20,000. That's what I've contributed to household expenses in 12 months. Want to see the breakdown? Rent, utilities, internet, groceries, Jade's equipment, emergency expenses. $20,000. Mom's face went pale. Even Jade looked uncomfortable. I wasn't trying to keep score, I continued, my voice steady. I helped because you're my family, and I thought we were in it together. But apparently, I was the only one contributing. So I'm done. The electricity bill is due tomorrow, Dad said quietly. We don't have the money. Then I suggest you figure it out. Maya, please. Mom reached for my hand. I stepped back. No. I've been fixing everything for 2 years. Your budget problems, your poor planning, your inability to tell Jade that she needs to get an actual job instead of chasing Instagram fame. I'm done being your safety net. This is so selfish. Jade finally exploded. We're family. Family helps each other. You're absolutely right, I said calmly. Family does help each other. Which is why you're going to get a job, contribute to rent, and learn what it means to actually be part of a family unit instead of the center of it. Am I being too harsh, or is this exactly what they needed to hear? Let me know in the comments. The next 2 weeks were brutal. My phone became a weapon of guilt. Multiple calls per day, each one a variation on the same theme. Emergencies, struggles, how could use. The electricity did get shut off, for 3 days until Dad picked up extra shifts. The internet got cancelled. Jade suddenly became very motivated to fill out job applications at coffee shops with free Wi-Fi. Mom started clipping coupons and meal planning for the first time in years. I held firm to one rule. I would help once on my terms, with clear boundaries, if they met specific conditions. The furnace died in week 3. Portland in November without heat is genuinely dangerous. That was my one intervention. I agreed to cover the $1,200 repair, but only after we sat down together and went through their entire financial situation. Every expense, every source of income, everything on the table. This is humiliating, Dad muttered as I reviewed their bank statements. This is reality, I corrected. You've been living beyond your means and using me to bridge the gap. If you want my help with this furnace, we're going to build a sustainable budget together. We spent 4 hours at my tiny kitchen table, and the truth was worse than I'd calculated. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage, carrying credit card debt I didn't know about, and had zero savings. My contributions hadn't been helping, they'd been enabling. I paid for the furnace. Then I laid out my conditions for any future assistance. 1. Mom would take on additional hours or find supplemental income. 2. Dad would secure stable full-time employment within 60 days. 3. Jade would get a part-time job that contributed $500 per month to household expenses minimum. 4. They would build a transparent budget and stick to it. 5. No more 24/7 tech support, no more last-minute bailouts, no more assumptions that I would fix things. And if we can't meet these conditions? Mom asked quietly. Then you'll figure it out like every other household in America. 6 months later, my studio apartment had become more than just a living space, it was proof of concept. Proof that I could thrive when I wasn't carrying 3 other people's weight. Proof that setting boundaries didn't make me selfish, it made me sane. My savings account had recovered. I'd gotten promoted at work. I'd started rock climbing at a gym down the street. I'd made actual friends, people who knew me as Maya the person, not Maya the fix-it ATM. My family had transformed too, though not in the way I'd expected. Jade got a job at a boutique downtown. She hated it initially, early mornings, demanding customers, retail chaos. But she actually turned out to be good at visual merchandising, and her eye for aesthetics made her valuable. She still posted content, but now it was authentic, a working 20-something documenting real life, not a carefully curated fantasy. Her followers responded. She hit 10,000 organically. Dad found steady work with better pay at a logistics company. Mom transitioned to full-time at the dental office and started taking online courses in office management. They refinanced the mortgage and started making actual progress on their debt. The first time they invited me over for dinner, not for help, not for money, just for dinner, felt surreal. We sat around the same table where I'd eaten countless meals while silently drowning. But the energy was different now. Lighter. More honest. I need to say something, Dad started, setting down his fork. I owe you an apology that's about 2 years overdue. I stayed quiet, letting him find his words. I convinced myself we were helping you by letting you live at home, keeping you close, keeping you safe. But really, I was taking advantage of your kindness and your income because it was easier than facing our problems. He looked directly at me. I taught you your whole life to be responsible, to be capable, to be strong. Then I punished you for being exactly that. Mom nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. We made you invisible while you held everything together. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Even Jade spoke up, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. I've been thinking about what you said. About family helping each other. I didn't help. I just took. And when you finally asked for something, respect for your space, your work, your boundaries, I called you selfish. She twisted her napkin. You weren't selfish. I was. These were words I'd needed to hear for months, maybe years. And yet, hearing them now, I realized something crucial. I didn't need them anymore. I'd already forgiven myself for prioritizing my own well-being. Their validation was a gift, but not a requirement. Thank you for saying that, I told them honestly. All of you. So, are you going to move back home? Mom asked hopefully. I smiled. No. But I'll visit more. On my terms. A year after I moved out, I'm sitting in my studio, which I've since upgraded to a 1-bedroom in the same building, writing this story because I know I'm not alone in this experience. Maybe you're the person everyone calls when things go wrong. Maybe you're the one quietly paying for things, fixing things, managing things while everyone else gets to be carefree. Maybe you're reading this and thinking about your own office, your own chair, your own breaking point. Here's what I want you to know. It's not sustainable. No matter how much you love your family, no matter how strong you are, you cannot set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. The question that changed everything for me was simple. What would actually happen if I stopped fixing everything? The answer surprised me. They figured it out. My family didn't collapse without me. They grew. They became more capable, more responsible, more whole. My absence didn't destroy them. It forced them to build themselves back up. And me. I learned that love doesn't require martyrdom. That healthy relationships have boundaries. That saying no is sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for them and for yourself. My dad didn't throw me out of my office because he was cruel. He did it because I'd made it too easy for everyone to use me without seeing me. The person who needed to set boundaries wasn't them, it was me. So if you're in your own version of this story right now, I want you to ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped being everyone's safety net? What if you chose yourself? It might be the most terrifying question you ever ask. But I promise you, the answer is worth finding out. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And tell me in the comments, are you ready to set your own boundaries, or are you still trying to hold everything together? Let's talk about it. You're not alone in this. Asterisk, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. And sometimes, the best revenge is simply living well. Asterisk.